questions or comments must be limited to the issues the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and the decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Roll call.
Chairman Novato?
Here.
Ms. Brzezinski? Mayor Sullivan? Councilman Broom?
Here.
Mrs. Dare? Mr. Akins? Mr. Kraska? Mr. Caresses? Mr. Cleveland?
Here.
Mr. Addicks?
Here.
And Ms. Warner?
Okay, I believe.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we start, I would like to make an announcement that Foundry Holdings LLC will not be heard tonight. They're going to be carried to the December 13th meeting, and that meeting will be held in the new Somerville Community Center, or Civic Center, I should say, at 24 Robeson, is it?
That's it.
And it's, I think you're gonna get new notice, but, well, they're not required by law to renotice, but we're going to ask them to renotice. So if anybody's here for that, you don't have to be. All right, approval of the minutes for October 11th.
I'm sorry. Second.
Any additions or corrections? Whenever you're ready.
Councilman Broom?
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mr. Addicks?
Yes.
Ms. Warner? Yes.
All right, so the only application we have tonight is a subdivision for Catherine Boone.
Okay, before we start, I'll just take a note that notice has been reviewed and is in order. We will mark the preliminary exhibits. Mark is A1, the application, supporting documentation, and A2 will be the notice. And PB1 will be Mr. Toll's report dated October 17, 2020. Actually, you want me to swear all of you, just so it's on the record, so that way if anybody speaks, you've got you sworn and. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that all we do?
So I want you to say who you are.
Oh, okay. Let's go first.
I'm Catherine Boone. Hold on.
And I am Marina Sorensen, her niece.
My name is Steve Parker. I'm the engineer for the project with Parker Engineering. And I can start out and just start off describing the application while we're here tonight. And answer any questions that the board may have regarding the application. This is a simple minor subdivision application. It is variance-free except for one variance that we're requesting for an existing shed on the property. This has been owned the property for many years, and it's an oversized property right on East Main Street. It is, the application is to basically subdivide the property, not quite exactly in half, but from one lot into two lots. Keep the existing house on one lot, and then just prepare the second lot there for construction of a new home sometime in the future. So I think it's on East Main Street, which is a county road. Planning board has received a copy of the application. It's been submitted to them. We don't have a review letter back from them yet, but we're waiting to hear from them. So we're here tonight to talk to this board, and I think rather than me just drone on, we can go over Mr. Cole's letter, which is dated October 17th of 2023. I think he brings up a number of points in there. Mr. Chairman, I can probably make this pretty quick if you'd like. we can agree with all the comments in the letter. There are a couple of discussion points and things up, and I think we'll go over those if you'd like.
Okay, well, if, it looks pretty simple to me, so if you're agreeing to all the comments in
Yes.
Mike's letter?
Yeah, there's a couple comment points that he has, I think we need to talk about that he brings up for discussion, and I can hit those really quick.
Okay,
I'm gonna skip through to, page number 7 of the review letter. And under, letter B, number 2, it says if street trees are not proposed, consideration should be given for applicant to make a financial contribution of $650 for every tree not installed. There's a requirement that 3 street trees be installed, based upon the width of the property. I think we're gonna make a contribution, for that, so I think that's just a discussion point. I think the next, question is under letter D, number 2, the subdivision will be recorded by deed. So that's going to be, those of course will be submitted to the board and the professionals for review, before they're filed, for signatures. The next comment under E, planning comments, just to put on the record that we believe this is a C1 variance, just because it's an unusual situation for the variance of the shed. It's been there for decades. I believe Mrs. Dewey can explain how many years it's been there, but it's been a long time.
At least 60 years, so I can't.
So we think that's rather unique, that it's been there for quite a while, and we certainly don't see any harm to the zone plan or zoning ordinance, just to leave that remain as is and for the board to grant variance. The application that we've submitted does not impact that in any way. It's a rear yard variance, setback variance. We're not changing that line at all. So this application has no impact on that. And I think the last comment that I wanted to just comment on was on page 9, letter E, number 5, talks about the width of the driveway. It's shown at 18 feet. Again, that is just depicted for purposes of the subdivision. It will comply. So we're not requesting a waiver or variance for that. We'll make it 16 feet max, which is what the ordinance requires. Other than that, I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
okay. Are you planning as part of this subdivision to actively build a house or sell the property and let somebody else build a house?
I don't think that's been determined yet. I'm not sure that they decided on that. So,
We
Okay.
haven't decided yet, so
Yeah.
probably,
I just,
but we're just not
it
there.
has no bearing on what we're doing here,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
I'm curious.
yeah, it's a beautiful piece of property. It actually hurts to put it, as separate, but it is an open piece of land, and the value
No,
of that
even
property
with the subdivision, it's way above the standard for the
It
zone,
is.
so.
for the area.
um,
Trust me, we both grew up playing in that yard. Like that is part of the house, right? Part of the
I think my family's been in Somerville at least 75 years. So it's kind of,
great
it's
grandparents,
very
grandparents.
difficult to think about.
Yeah. Any questions? I'll open it up to the public for comment or questions. No comment?
No.
All right, we'll close the public session. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I think it's simple.
Yeah, let's just,
I'll entertain a motion
Steve,
to.
you're gonna put the property
Motion to
corners
approve?
in?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, so your motion would be to grant C variance for the shed location, existing shed location, which violates the side yard, rear yard setback, rear yard setback, 5 feet required, 1.9 feet proposed. The driveway width is a non-issue as testified to. The board would grant a waiver from the 3 street tree requirements, and the applicants agreed to pay the $650 payment per tree. Conditions would be submission of the county letter. All other comments of Mr. Cole's letter will be addressed. Deed submitted for review along with the proposed meets and bounds description, and the survey markers to be
Property.
property corners. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? Because we actually didn't talk about the trees before this, so this is a little bit of a surprise. What is the restriction? I understand the 3 trees, right? So bear with me because I've never done this, right? So I'm gonna ask.
Neither have we.
The 3 trees, right? $650 per tree.
Correct.
And is that like done by the town? Is that done by us? That's,
It's
It
done,
goes to the environmental commission. And then we will put the trees in different parts of the town, in different parkland areas.
oh, so you're not putting the trees in front of the home?
Unless you.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, if you want them, you can make room for them.
No, we actually, like, it's a beautiful piece of property. I'm surprised you would want the trees there.
Well, that's, the ordinance requires that people put street trees in. But if you don't want the street trees, or for some reason you can't put street trees, and putting trees under power lines isn't a good idea,
Right.
then you can make a contribution to the environmental commission in lieu of doing that, and the environmental commission will put trees in places where they're needed.
It just seems a lot per tree, that's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who make a contribution. And
No, I get the contribution. I'm all for the environment now, but it seems like a lot per tree. That's all I'm thinking. I could definitely help you out and plant trees a little less expensive.
Well, when we plant trees, we try to plant mature trees so that you know, we're not putting in little saplings.
No, I get it. I would hope not for 600. That's all.
Okay, did we get a second on that motion?
so
Okay.
Lisa,
I made a motion.
I'll second.
Okay,
Okay. Chairman Novato,
yes.
Councilman Green,
Yes.
Mr. Cleveland,
Yes.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
and Ms. Winter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
You too, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'll send that. Okay. Amy, you can call me. Thank you.
Okay,
Take care.
we have no items not on the agenda. My comments are, there will be a visioning meeting on
Monday. 30th.
Monday, the 30th. It'll be a council meeting, and it will take place in the Somerville Civic Center. And it's a meeting to do some visioning for the portion of the West Main Street redevelopment area that we are in now. And it's what was just added to the West Main Street redevelopment area. So I would encourage everybody to go, and even if you don't have anything to say, at least you know what's going on. So that's all I have.
Yeah, I have a question about the parking situation at the new civic center. It seems to me that we might want to try to do something else, because I can see people being highly upset of having to pay for parking to go do their civic duty or to go and participate in a public.
Are you addressing that to him?
No, just in general, I'm having just a discussion, just to say, well, I'll tell you what, when I went to the meeting last week at the Borough Hall, I tried to use my badge. And it let me in, but it wouldn't let me out. Paid $1. But I can imagine a lot of people are gonna end up having
That,
a
all right,
conflict, so
can
I'm just
I
wondering.
respond to that, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we've had some issues with the parking passes, and what we did, it only took 19 months to negotiate with the people that own the deck to get parking passes for officials and boards. Only 19 months, so it was a pretty short, amicable sort of debate. But somehow some of the passes, and Roger knows this well, because he sent me emails saying, didn't let me out. So we're trying to get that fixed. If you come to this room, you have to pay for street parking or park illegally. That's just the way it is. So it hasn't really changed. And one of the issues that we don't own the streets right now. So we can't go in and police it to start with. We do not own Robeson, we do not own Station Road, we don't own any of them. We probably will by the end of the year. But one of the issues we've got, which is one that has been spoken about for many years in this town, is commuters. There is a New Jersey parking lot in the building, and they charge $5 a day. Some commuters say, I don't want to pay that. I'll park on the street because there's no control on the And the approval that Somerset Development got was like they provide about 10% more parking than what the ordinance calls for. But it doesn't take into account commuters not parking where they're supposed to. So in the short term, there will most likely be an overflow parking lot that people can use where there'll be no charge. But we have to look at as a borough, and then with Avalon Bay who own the building, how we're going to manage the parking. And I think where it'll end up, and there's no guarantee to this, and anyone watching it, there's no guarantee to this, is we'll put time-restricted parking on Robeson. And as you go down Station Road, what those times will be, I'm not quite sure yet, because I've got to work with the borough and it's got to sync with what's going on there. But making parking free for everyone going to a meeting will never happen. And that's probably the best answer I can give you, Larry.
I can understand that. I certainly get that. I was at the meeting when the guy came in, Mr. Chen, I think, and he talked about getting.
You know, Mr. Chen, and I shouldn't, well, Mr. Chen had an issue because of the fact that he's an owner in the Pulte townhouses. And I can't know, they get one parking garage, and then the parking on the street near the townhomes is supposed to be for overflow. So it becomes a challenge. Is it the owners of the townhouses that are parking down there? Because it seems a little too far for commuters to be parking. So it's the perennial problem. How do you manage parking?
Yes.
When they conform to all the ordinances. So no, that's the best I can do.
All right, thanks. Anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I know there's no one in the public, but anybody in the public that wants to comment on anything. I'm just record, you know,
I did my bit.
trustees.
Okay, we'll open it up to the public.
Or one.
And since the only public has already said what he wanted to say, we'll close the public session. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Jenna, do you want any of your friends back?